Hi, this is Lucky Smith reporting for Star River News Magazine. I'm here with Adriana.
DJ Adriana.
And you are a DJ out of Vegas, correct?
Correct.
How long have you been DJing for now?
In Vegas as 100% full-time, it's been about 3 years now.
3 years. And can you give us some of the names of the clubs that you cover in Vegas?
I play for Tao, Lava, Marquee, Hard Rock, and I play at a lot of the group properties randomly. Sometimes maybe Hayes, The Bank, Liquid. It just depends.
And you're originally from New York, correct?
New York City.
New York City. Is that where you started DJing at, was in New York?
No, I actually started in Miami, but that was way in between New York and Vegas. The way I got into it was my brother has always been in radio, and that's how I got introduced to turntables, mixers, crates of vinyl, and so forth. And he always had me since I was a kid listening to music, and both my parents loved music. And so when I started learning the craft of DJing wasn't when I made a career of it, because I chose to get my degrees from college and my master's before I actually went 100% full force DJing only.
Oh wow, what degrees do you have?
From ASU, I got a bachelor's in political science, a bachelor's in marketing, and a bachelor's in communication. And then I got an associate's in graphic design and my master's in international business marketing. So
what made you decide to go from, because you got more of a, I'm understanding more, you were looking more at marketing business. What made you decide to make that transition after school to, I'm just going to I'm going to go full force, I'm going to go full time into DJing?
I've always loved music, and ever since I first touched turntables, I was drawn to them. It was magnetic. And when I graduated from ASU with my bachelor's, and when I was starting my master's is when I was kind of dabbling in it. And at the time, I was working in event coordination and production. And I was in Miami at the time, and I was doing my master's online, and I was working on some Super Bowl events, and there was a blizzard from the northeast coast to Miami, and so some of the artists couldn't come down, and that's when I actually first was in front of my first crowd, because I had to fill in for the DJs that couldn't fly in. And then from there, the managers and, some of the production people at the event were like, oh, you're such a good DJ, why didn't you, tell us, because we would have booked you. And I was just like, oh, well, it's kind of something that, I do more for myself, and, I played around, at different clubs in Arizona or Chicago, wherever I've lived, while my friends are DJing, getting on for a half hour, an hour, but I never was oh, I'm a DJ, book me this, that, or another thing. And then from there, though, I was already in it. I was already, doing my own, 3 nights because of the Super Bowl events and just, the way the situations panned out. And from there, there was no turning back. There was nothing else on God's green earth that I wanted to do more than DJ.
Oh, wow. So you learned this from your brother, who was in radio. Is your brother in radio in New York, or is he in radio?
Now he's in radio in Arizona.
In Arizona?
And my brother's not an actual DJ per se, turntables and a mixer and, whether it be computer, vinyl, or CDs or whatever. He's a radio disc jockey, so he's more of a personality.
Oh, okay.
And the way I learned it was I've always been around DJs, from his friends and in that direction. And so I would play around with the turntables and the vinyl that he would have, and, you pretty much, as soon as I turned them on, you couldn't get me off of them until someone told me it's too loud, you have to stop this, that, or, whatever. And then I just wanted to learn more and more and more about it. So, my DJ friends, as I grew older, my own DJ friends or my brother's friends that like looked at me like a little sister, I'd be like, oh, will you teach me how to do this? Or, oh, how did you do that? I want to learn how to do that, you know? Or, oh, that's so cool. And then like see someone do it and just like keep trying until you can do it just as well as they did.
And so you started off at the Super Bowl, and then is that when you started spinning in Miami?
That's when I first decided I was going to spin. But at that point, I had always spun on vinyl, like just playing around in my house or, you know, at friends' houses. Like I always spun like out of crates, and I decided that, you know what, I'm going to go 100% into this. And the way I am is I put myself, like pretty much locked myself in my house for 6 to 8 hours a day for close to 9 months. And I was like, you know, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this right, and I'm going to be perfect, and I'm going to be 100% the best that I can be. Like, I'm not going to just, oh, I had a good run for a few days, now let me just kind of keep it rolling. I was like, you know, I have to, you know, the way I am is I would never put something out there that I didn't think was the best, or at least I wasn't content with per se. And so pretty much I decided, you know what, I'm going to dabble a little bit here and there with like little bookings that I got, but I didn't want to necessarily be like, oh, I DJ'd at the Super Bowl, I'm DJ Adriana, like book me, like, you know, I'm the next female DJ. I was pretty much, by Labor Day, I'm going to move back to Vegas, where I had already lived once. I'm going to move back to Vegas because there's no more opportunity than there is in Vegas in a 2.5-mile radius. And I'm going to put myself out there, and my goal is
Hello? Alright, hello? Okay, so we're talking about how you said that Vegas is the best place to go because everything's within 2.5-mile radius.
To me, it just was to me, I had already lived in Vegas. I already had, you know, kind of established a reputation, like, with a lot of the different people out here. And so it was the smartest idea for me to launch my career, I guess. Because, you know, I had a place to live if I needed one, and I had friends, you know, I had a support system, like, you know, I was already familiar with the industry, and so I would just make, like, you know, short-term and long-term goals for myself and just consistently work towards them, and I still do the same thing. And to me, I've been really fortunate because every day has been more successful than the last. And until that slows down or I have better opportunities elsewhere, it's the perfect place for me.
Well, yeah, Vegas, New York, Miami, LA, those are like the best places to be if you're in the music industry, period.
Absolutely.
There's just, you know, media, it's just, you know, you're in Vegas and you're performing at some of the top high-end clubs that there's people in the industry that have been DJing that I know of for over 10 years and they can't even get booked there. So I'm very highly impressed. That you're like the next up-and-coming artist. What's next on your agenda for your career?
Pretty much just more international travel is what I'm focusing on this year. Last year was, you know, branding and marketing within Vegas itself. So then earlier this year I started branching out to out-of-state travel, and by the end of the year it's more international based, where I'm looking at doing an Asia tour, you know, going to Korea, Kuala Lumpur, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. And then next year, my goals are Europe, Australia, and hopefully South America.
And your most of your music you DJ is hip hop. Do you work with any other genres of music or?
Pardon? I'm open format. So I do hip hop. I do top 40. Like when I play at Hard Rock, I play 80s, 90s rock, reggae. I do some events where I'm all EDM. So I actually, on a daily basis, am keeping myself familiar with all genres of music because you never know what someone's going to ask for.
Oh, I didn't see because I was listening to your SoundCloud and I was listening to your music, and most of what I caught was a lot of your mixes were hip hop. So you basically read the crowd then.
Yeah, my last two mixes, well, I'm putting one out today, actually. That's another hip-hop mix, but that's just because I was asked to do a summer hip-hop session, like a 3-volume set for the summer. And so that's why the last couple have been hip-hop. But if you, like, go back a little bit, you'll see, like, some are hip-hop with a little bit of house, with top 40, with, like, a rock song, an 80s song. And then I think one before that is hip-hop, and then the end of it is house. It just depends. I kind of try to go off of, like I did a Baby G mix.
Okay.
And I kind of went off of the DJ before me and what they played, and they played a lot of house music. So I decided to go on a hip-hop tip because, you know, that way it was different. That way, like, you know, for Baby G's, you know, marketing and, you know, who they're reaching out to, it wouldn't be, like, continuous 30-minute house mixes if they liked other kinds of music.
And what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I used to say that hip-hop was my favorite, and I still have a lot of love for hip-hop, but I've grown to have an appreciation for EDM and, you know, different genres of house music, and I've always liked top 40 because at the end of the day, I've danced as long as I can remember, so I've always liked anything with a beat that I can dance to, so Rihanna, Chris Brown, you know, Kesha, Mariah Carey, anything, I've, like, always had, like, you know, an affinity towards if it had, like, a good beat or a good melody. So I would say that as I've grown older, I've grown to appreciate and understand all genres of music more, so I can't even say I have a favorite anymore.
And where are some of your DJs that you would look up to, some of your influences that you would
My favorite DJ right now, and probably, gosh, for like the last few years at least, if not longer, my favorite DJ that's playing in the clubs right now would be A-Track, hands down. I think he is incredible in every facet of what DJing is. As far going back further than that, like DJs that I looked up to growing up, I was fortunate to live in Vegas when DJ AM had his residency at the Palms every Friday.
Yeah.
And I have a couple mutual friends with him, so I actually got to talk to him and hang out with him and, you know, discuss music and where music was going. So I really liked him. Of course, I like DJ Vice, and I have a lot of respect for his career and just the way he does everything. DJ Scene, I think, is amazing as far as being an open format DJ at its finest. Of course, I look up to, you know, Kid Capri and Grandmaster Flash and, like, all the DJs that paved the way. So, I mean, I like a lot of the producers that are out right now, but as far as, like, being DJs, I don't know if I really can, like, I mean, a lot of them even say, we're not DJs, we're producers, we're artists, you know, we put on a show. And so I would say I like the music that they make, but I wouldn't consider their sets necessarily DJ sets. I'd consider them more performances. So that's why I'm not saying people like Cruella or Deadmau5 or Cascade or Dada Light, even though I love all of them.
Oh, yeah, exactly. When you were mentioning you were talking to one of your DJs about where music is going, where do you feel that music is going at this point? Where do you see? Because, like, I'm seeing a lot of mixes. Like, a couple years ago, they were starting to play with mixes with dubstep and hip-hop. And that right when it was kind of, before it came out, was me and my friends were talking about this would be great. I mean, where do you see music going forward from this point?
I think it's all just a consistent cycle, essentially. I mean, you know, 5 years ago, or longer, maybe, yeah, about 5 years ago probably, house music was just becoming popular, like, on a mainstream tip. Like, at that point, everything was, like, you know, hip-hop and whatever, and I kind of feel like now hip-hop's kind of making its way back around, so I just think it's, like, a constant, like, 5-year cycle with everything. Like, and I mean, you know, too much of a good thing is always overwhelming. So, as people as everything becomes house, you start having like the venues or the radio stations or the DJs that start playing like more hip hop or more open format to like add more into that. And so I kind of think that, top 40 and hip hop is kind of making its way back up around. I don't know if that's going to eliminate house music by any means, but I think that it'll definitely, be more equal to how much you'll find of one genre.
True. If people want to come out and visit you and want to come see your lineup, where can they find you at as well?
Every week, randomly, depending on what days I'm in town and whatnot, I'm at Tal or Lavo or Marquee, and everything you can find on my website. Every Friday through the rest of the summer, I'm at Hard Rock. And like I said, randomly I do like group properties for certain events, usually monthly, but the best way to find everything is on my website.
Okay. And
because I have that updated regularly. Because I'm traveling to San Diego, LA, Sacramento, like that's in the next week alone.
Oh, okay. So you're going to LA this week?
I'm going to LA for Candyland on Saturday.
On Saturday. Well, if you're in town, maybe we can come out and do an in-person interview as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Just let Kelly know, and I'm totally all about it.
Yeah, and you're going to be in San Diego. And your website is DJ Adriana, correct?
You can, it's actually right now it's Alex Adriana, but I'm going to be transferring everything to DJ Adriana anyway.
Okay.
So DJ Adriana already forwards to Alex Adriana. So if you want to go ahead and put that, I'm all good with it.
Okay, cool. And then, is there anything else you want to talk about or cover during the interview? Because I have your bio, I have your pictures, and thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to cover or make sure that we...
No, everything was great. You actually asked me questions that most people don't. I mean, everyone obviously always asks me, like, how you get started into it. But usually it's like, how'd you get started into it? And then, like, what do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah.
So it was nice, like, having, like, something that was different,
Well, I try to be, because it's like, I don't want to, I look at what's already out there, and I always think, like, as a listener, as a fan, well, what do I want to know about DJ Adriana? Of course we want to know your lineup, of course we want to know that, but then what about you? What is your opinion? And it's interesting to know that you have an educational background. And
yeah, I think a lot of people are surprised about that when they find out. Because when I tell people, like, oh yeah, like I went to college, and they're just like, what?
And that's encouraging too, because I'm a big, like, right now I'm working on transferring and continuing my education for my bachelor's and my master's degree as well. And is what a lot of our following, how the website started, the magazine was a college blog. So now we're a magazine. So it's encouraging to let people know that you can still pursue your dreams and achieve your education. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And plus,
no, I agree with that.
And so that's it. Hopefully we can meet up on Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and upload the interview with the pictures to you forward, and then should be up today. I'll send them to you as well, and then I'll let you and Kelly take a look at it, and hopefully we'll be meeting up on Saturday.
Yeah, just let me know.
All right. Thank you very much, Adriana. And then let me turn off the